Welcome to this brand new YouTube/podcast show, Premier League podcast, with myself, Louis, and my dear friend Connor. Up on today's show, we've got Chelsea's 6-0 defeat and what's next for Sarri.
We've got Wolves at the head of the best of the rest.
After Everton's third straight defeat, can Marco Silva last the rest of the season?
Ramsey to Juventus on a ridiculous salary of $400k a week.
Is Heung-min Son underrated at Spurs?
And the biggest question of them all, is Mo Salah a diver?
Well, welcome to the show, Connor. Looking forward to this, our new adventure.
We are starting off.
That's where it all starts.
Before we start, if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, we will be talking about... we can try and get one of these out a week, so you'll get your weekly football update on a 40-minute episode. We're aiming for around 40 minutes. Don't forget to hit the bell notification so you do see us and every time we upload. My name's Connor. His name's Louis.
Yeah, I never wanted to be one of those people who said like, comment, and subscribe, but please, that would really help us.
Yes, and we do apologise for the setup. It is our first episode, as you can see right there. I've got a pillow under the door. That's just to block out sound because we are, in fact, in uni. We will be doing it in the studio for our next couple of episodes, but we thought we should make a start, so we're doing it here.
Yeah, so apologies for that, and let's get on with it.
Yeah.
So the first thing that we both wanted to cover was Chelsea's 6-0 defeat and what happens next in terms of their manager. It was a shocking game.
Yeah, the team of Chelsea, they should not be losing 6-0.
No, I remember I didn't get a chance to watch the game, but I remember checking my Sky Sports app, and yeah, it was the 80th minute and it was 6-0, and I thought, oh, bloody hell! Like, being a Liverpool fan, I was cautiously optimistic that the likes of Chelsea might be able to grab something, but the way they just laid down and took a spanking from City was quite unbelievable, really, and it hasn't quite sunken in yet. I mean, 6-0, I don't remember seeing them lose 6-0.
Well, in our lifetime, I can tell you now, they haven't lost 6-0. But, well, if they have, it's when we're very, very young. But, again, for a team, Chelsea, they're one of the... they strike fear into the heart of their opponents. Mm. When you know your team, like for me, Everton fan, when I hear my team's playing Chelsea, you automatically think, we're not going to point out this.
Exactly, that's one of those teams, yeah.
Even when you go abroad, like to the countries that only know big teams from the Premier League, the United fans, the Chelsea fans, the Liverpool fans, loads of them are Chelsea. Chelsea is such a looked up to club. And for them to almost... Is this the new Chelsea? Are we going to see this happen again, or is that a one-off? And I still haven't decided. Is it Man City playing phenomenally well? Is it them just being absolutely outstanding? Or are Chelsea on a decrease? Are they going to start eroding away and become this mid-table team?
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? I suppose that is the question on most people's minds. Under Sarri, I can't see them progressing unless they gave him a lot of time, which, especially at the likes of Chelsea, you don't get as a manager.
No. Yeah.
And it was in one of their previous defeats, he came out and said he doesn't know whether he can motivate this team. And as a manager of one of the biggest clubs in the world, if you come out and say that sounds like a bit of a he's signed his own death warrant, as it were. He's opening the door and he's just waiting to be kicked out.
To be honest, that is a quitter's attitude. I mean, coming out and saying you can't motivate your own team.
I mean, what message does that send to the players? They're not going to listen to you.
Exactly. That's it. If you're going to say you're going to motivate you can't motivate your own team. For me, that's like a quitter's attitude. He's given up. From there, all I can hear now is, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to motivate this team. I can't motivate this team. And I've just made them lose 6-0. Especially with the last having Higuain in your team.
Well, all of them. Higuain, Hazard, Pedro, Willian, Fabregas, Azpilicueta.
It's bad. How
you can't at least make that a smaller deficit, or at least challenge them in some form. I mean, Man City, they weren't even at top gear. I don't think. I think, well, maybe for the first 20 minutes, but after that, they were they were on cruise control. There was just no threat from Chelsea at all. There was no desire.
I'm going to stir the pot a bit for all the Chelsea fans, and I'm just going to put it straight out there. Courtois is better than Kepa. Now, I know a lot of Chelsea fans say, no, Kepa's the new Courtois, he's doing well. Did you see Courtois lose 6-0? Did you see him concede 6 goals in one match? No. Fair enough, he made a few mistakes, but that man was a good keeper. And for the Chelsea fans, they're saying it with a salty kind of background. Now, I've got nothing against Chelsea fans, but you can tell the desire behind it is coming from, we've just lost a good player, but we still want everyone to think we're brilliant. Well, instead of talking, why don't you show it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And losing 6-0, don't get me wrong, it's Manchester City. They are a good team. But 6-0, especially against Chelsea. Some people say Chelsea are actually better than City. But I think that's now been proved otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, I do believe for Chelsea to climb back up the ladder and get to the top of the Premier League, Sarri's going to have to go. And
so what do you think that should happen now, or do you think it should wait until the end of the season?
I think the longer Sarri's in, the more the next manager is going to have to improve. I mean, he's bought Higuain, good transfer, brilliant player, scored 2 on his debut, hadn't done anything since. Now, if you, for example, had Jurgen Klopp with a player like Higuain, I mean, look at what he's done to Mo Salah. He's made him one of the best players in the Premier League.
After being a Chelsea reject.
Yeah. Look at how he's pulling in these players. I mean, look what we did to Lukaku. He was one of the biggest names in Europe when he played for us, and then he went to United and had a bit of a car crash.
I mean, that sounds like a fundamental flaw in your club. I mean, that's beyond the likes of Sarri. That's just something that's been happening for years.
Yeah.
And you have this habit of, you're not a Chelsea supporter, but Chelsea have this habit of, buying all the young upcoming talents, and none of them get anywhere. This was it Hudson-Odoi is looking, is probably going to be on his way out soon, and he's off to Bayern Munich. So obviously Bayern Munich has spotted something in him that Chelsea just can't seem to get. And as much as I agree with you that Sarri isn't the man to lead them forward, I think there's a lot of problems at that club that need to be addressed. That's certainly holding them back from getting back to the top.
I do think you're right. It is an inside job, but less on the Chelsea side. I want to move us on to Wolves and how Wolverhampton are playing this season. Now, they are the head of the best of the rest. Now, for anyone that doesn't know what that means, basically it means they are, but out of the top 6, they're 7th, but they're holding 7th quite well. They're, I think, top Watford are 2 points behind them.
Yeah.
And then we're 5.
Yeah.
So, and I'm an Everton fan. So,
you've got the top 6, obviously Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea. Arsenal and Chelsea are tied on 50 points, and then 11 points back is 7th place Wolves. But there's a lot of decent sides behind them. The likes of Watford have been playing very well this season, Everton, West Ham, Bournemouth. Nuno has certainly got them playing the way that he wants them to, and it's paying off.
Well, that's it. I know this is a bit of a Merseyside podcast. We could call it that as well. But the thing is, we're not biased. We know when other teams are doing well. And to be honest with you, I know that they have taken our spot. And you're probably happy about that. I'm not so happy. But I can see them concreting a pathway for them to stay in the Premier League. I mean, the 3 people that come up, you got Cardiff, Fulham and Wolves, was it?
Yeah.
Fulham, they've not done a lot. Cardiff, again, not done a lot, but Wolves have really made their mark. They've come up, they've taken their opportunity, and they've proved that they are about what it is to get in the Premier League. And that is, for me, why team or that I don't support or not, no, I do or don't, they should stay for me. I think they should. Yeah.
Well, yeah, what I was saying to you earlier, not necessarily Cardiff, but the likes of Fulham and Wolves, when they came up, they had a large transfer kitty, didn't they? And they spent a lot of money on a lot of different players. But the length and the effort of who took time to spot their targets and who would best suit their team is certainly, at this point, looks like it was Wolves. Wolves being up in 7th and Fulham are struggling in the bottom 3, and not even Ranieri seems to be able to get those players working together. So it just shows really that you can have the money, but you've got to know where to spend it in the right places.
Yeah, no, I agree. But then again, just spinning off the back of that, Wolves, we can never say they're the best team around, but also they have made a lot of mistakes this season, and that is why they are 7th. They've got the money to spend. Well, they haven't got the most money to spend, but they have got money to spend. What they tend to do, have you seen the kind of players they're buying? So they're not buying big names. And for Wolves, I think just bringing in, now they're in the Premier League, they spend that little bit more just bringing in a named, maybe midfielder, or it doesn't have to be a Kevin De Bruyne, it could be a Drinkwater, do you know what I mean? They just bring in a soft name and start planting their feet into the Premier League. Because that's what it needs. Now they've come up, they've got that money from promotion. Then now they need to start developing them. I know they're going to play their players, they're going to develop them, and they've got some good players. But they do need to start bringing in from that transfer window, bringing in small name players. I mean, even Giroud or just someone that's done something in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, this season I think has been a roaring success for them. Mistakes or not. I don't think many people have seen them. I mean, there's still a long way to go, but I don't think many people at 26 games into the season would have seen them being in the top 10, certainly the top 7. So they're clearly staying up this season, no doubt about it. But yeah, there's always the worry that next season it could just fall on its face. So yeah, the next transfer window is certainly going to be a big challenge, and also very important for them going forward in terms of whether they want to maintain that position or fall into mediocrity or even fall back into relegation trouble.
I do agree with you. I think that Wolverhampton are, well, I hope for Wolverhampton's sake they're not going to do a Leicester. They're not going to come, don't get me wrong, they're not winning the league, but they're not going to come in, hit 7th and then get relegated next season, do you know what I mean?
Or drop off.
Yeah, or drop off. I'd like them to stay punishing, because to be honest, it gives us some competition as well. We're 6th usually, maybe 7th. Now we've got another team there, because think about it, 7th can actually be qualifiers, can't it?
It can get you into the Europa League.
Yeah, because if I think if it's City win the league and the cup, then they're already into the Europa League, so it goes down to 2nd to 7th place.
Yeah,
which would be Wolves at this point.
Yeah,
and I mean for them to be in the Europa League is a huge thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean if that happened this season, then I'd have to go down as one of their best seasons. I think they're only a couple of points off of their best ever Premier League points total, and with 12 games to go, that would certainly be an achievement. So, anyway, moving on, you wanted to discuss Everton. So on the weekend, they suffered their 3rd straight defeat. It was a last-minute loss to Watford, 1-0.
It was.
And so not only is that their 3rd straight defeat, that's also 5 of their last 6 games that they've lost.
Well, yeah, we've had the last 3 games. It's been 1-0 Watford, 2-0 City, and 3-1 Wolves. So we did lose to our new coming rival Wolves.
Yeah.
And it's not upsetting, but I feel as if we should be doing a lot better. I mean, this season under Silva, we've played 27 games, 9 wins, 6 losses, 12 losses and 6 draws. So for me, that just spells one thing out, and that's got to be Silva. Silva's got to go. But then again, I know you're going to ask it, do I blame Silva? I don't. I think Everton's downfall, and I'll stick with this till the day I die, our downfall was when we sold the biggest name in Europe at the time, Romelu Lukaku. You saw him everywhere. We sold him, and do you know who we bought? We bought a team of number 10s. We bought midfielders, centre-attacking mids, right? But then, look who we've replaced Lukaku with. St. Toussaint and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I mean, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's brilliant, but he's not got the experience. We're having to play Richarlison up front, who we bought as a left mid, to play up top for us. Now, that's all well and good, because he's a good player, but we need that. We need a finisher. As I said earlier, I keep bringing his name up, Giroud. I'd love to have Giroud in my team. He does a job. It might not be pretty. He might do it however he wants, but he gets the goals in. And that is what I think we're doing wrong. And what I think it is it's made, like for Sam Allardyce, it made it hard because he can't go on the pitch and score, can he? Silva can't go on the pitch and score. So whoever's coming to Everton, they're going to have to take it with a pinch of salt. They're going to have to come to us, and they're just going to have to get a transfer window and buy us a striker. That is where we're going wrong because we cannot finish it. And I'll let you talk about the defence, but I mean our only decent defender is Digne at the moment. So, but if you look at our midfield though, we've got the Gylfi Sigurdsson, Idrissa Gana Gay, he's brilliant. We've got Richarlison, Bernard. We've got, am I missing anyone big? Tom Davies, he's new upcoming, isn't he? We've got all these players. Theo Walcott. We've got all these players, and yeah, they're all good. But where's the chemistry? Where's the guy up top tapping them all in? Where's our Harry Kane?
Yeah. We can't all have a Harry Kane, unfortunately, as much as we'd love to. You're right. The transfer policy's been very askew and very strange in terms of neglecting the forward positions and just having midfielders. So you've got all this. I mean, I would like to say you've got all this creativity, but I'm not even sure you've been that successful in creating chances.
We haven't.
And that comes down to the manager.
Yeah.
The players, whether they're in form or not, they've all got abilities. We know they've got abilities, and there's a lot of potential in there, and it's just a case of unlocking that potential. And for me, and I feel like you agree, I don't think that Silva's the person to do that.
I don't. You're talking about making chances. Now, as a Liverpool fan, I am going to let you make your assumption on this, and I do want to hear your view. But let's talk about not defending chances. Did you watch the Tottenham game?
Now, yeah, that's what I was going to mention. That was I watched that, and that's one of the few Everton games that I have watched this season, and I was astounded at how often they were cut open. Tottenham were not at their best, and they didn't need to be.
No, it's a walk in the park.
It was quite for large chunks. It was quite an end-to-end game, but as soon as it started coming towards the Everton end, it just looked like it was going to go in for Tottenham. It was just so easy for them to cut through the midfield, cut through the defence, and the likes of Harry Kane, Dele Alli, they had shots left, right, and centre, and they probably should have won by more. But it was just really quite shocking for me, like hearing a lot of excited Everton fans saying that Marco Silva's the one. This was obviously a couple of months ago now, saying that he's the one. He's the one who's going to take us forward. The days of Allardyce are long gone, and apart from a bit more attractive football when you're in charge of games and a bit more passing, where has it really gotten you?
Well, it hasn't. That's the problem.
No.
Like you were saying, when we played Tottenham, it was give Tottenham the ball in the final third and they'd score. And this is, I think, obviously look at Seamus Coleman. If he had not broke his leg, fair enough, he would have been one of the best defenders in the Premier League, I think. Ever since he broke his leg, it's just not been the same. We've also got Kurt Zouma, who's getting red cards. We've got Michael Keane, yeah, he's good, but he can't do it on his own. We've got Digne, who seems to be Lionel Messi, and just pinging free kicks, that's it. But Lionel Messi obviously does, he's got a full package, I'm just saying Digne's got his free kicks. And again, also, we have Jordan Pickford. Now, if you compare Pickford's playing standard to us in the Premier League and Pickford's playing standard to him in the World Cup, it looks like two completely different footballers. And I think that's down to coaching, it's down to management, it's all down to how the player feels. And for me, that's sad, because does that mean Pickford's also on his way out?
Well, I think luckily for you, the form he's been in, the top clubs won't be looking at him.
Exactly.
But
then that'll just demotivate him.
Well, yeah, it's a tough balance. But I mean, if another manager can come in and can galvanise the squad and get these players back up to the standards that we know that they can reach, then there's no reason that the likes of Jordan Pickford can't show that kind of form again. And that's the reason you bought him. He did so well at Sunderland.
Yeah, he did.
Obviously, he was in the limelight a lot more that season because they were in a relegation battle, so there was a lot of shots aimed at him. And I think that's probably one of his biggest downfalls, is just concentration.
So for the derby especially, Divock Origi's last minute goal.
Look,
I mean, we speak about that. We speak about this a lot as friends, but it was a very bizarre moment.
I struggle to understand why Pickford. Fair enough, he might not have thought it went off. He brought the ball back off the pitch, didn't he? The ball went. If you didn't see it, basically what happened, and you can look up a YouTube clip. In fact, I'll insert a clip now. Basically, as you saw, Pickford's pulled the ball off back onto the pitch for Divock Origi just to tap in. Now, decision making is key when you're a goalkeeper. You must have good decision making, and it's just he does. Apart from things when it's important, last minute of a derby, you don't want to be. If you see the ball going over the crossbar, leave it. Don't try to stick your hand out. What are you doing?
Well, that's where his youth shows. I think. I feel like he loses his head very quickly. He's a brilliant character to have on the pitch, and he's certainly one of the loudest players out there. But that comes back to haunt him sometimes.
It does. Well, we're gonna move on because I don't want to run out of time. To a subject that me and you, when we both found out, were very, very surprised about.
Yeah, that's Aaron Ramsey's move to Juventus. Now this has been touted for a long time, and Juventus are renowned for picking up good free agents, people who are running down their contracts. So a couple of seasons ago, obviously they got Emre Can, and they've done very well with defenders as well from across European clubs. But Aaron Ramsey's the latest player. And I don't have a problem with that. I think surrounded by amazing players that Juventus have, he could go on to be a very good player for them. The shocking, well, okay, maybe you disagree, we can go on to that. The shocking part is the reported wages. Now, obviously, we have no way of knowing unless the player comes out and says so, but it's been reported that he's on £400,000 a week as a basic salary. Yeah, I don't know how that's happened. I don't know whether Juventus was just so keen to get the deal through that they just offered him whatever he wanted. Whether the agents were really sticking up a good fight and negotiated well. Or whether £400,000 a week just isn't as much as it used to be.
Well, all I'm going to say to all you Fiat drivers is unlucky, because have you heard what Juventus have said?
No, what was that?
Basically, the people that own Juventus own Fiat. And when they bought Ronaldo, well, before they bought Ronaldo, everyone at Fiat wanted a pay rise. And the people of Juventus, who also own Fiat, said they didn't have enough money. They then bought Ronaldo for an extortionate amount of money. And everyone went on strike. They've just started getting people back in, still haven't given them a pay rise, and now they've done the exact same thing. I mean, 400k, what's that, about 32 million a year?
Just like 20, about 28 or something, I can't remember.
Like
we did have a look at it the other day.
Yeah, and I mean...
I think the only other person at Juventus who's higher paid than that is Ronaldo.
Yeah.
So he's earning similar or more than the likes of Dybala.
Well, that's it, Dybala, Cuadrado.
Yeah.
The players that are actually still in their prime. And you've got Aaron Ramsey, fair enough, he's going to go. Oh, and when I was laughing earlier, I was laughing at it because I knew what was coming, the 400k a week. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I do agree with you, he could be a good player, but is he going to be the next Dybala, the next Cuadrado? Is he going to be
world class? And no, I don't see it.
I mean, look at Sandro. Surely he should be up there with a high pace. He's brilliant.
I mean, how old is Ramsey now? He's not a young prospect anymore, is he?
I couldn't even tell you. Ramsey, all I know is he's past the sell-by date.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's past the point where you can call him a player with high potential, and he's got to start showing it quite quickly. As I say, I've got no problem with Ramsey. I've got no problem with his move to Juventus, but the money side of it, I don't know whose decision that was, who vouched for that. Who signed it off? I mean, if any player demanded that from a Premier League club, I'm pretty sure they would just say, no, on your bike, we don't want you anymore.
Well, that's it. It's down to football becoming business. Football is business now. And Ramsey's move has just proved it. I mean,
but it's not even like he's a superstar player. He's not like a Pogba. He hasn't got a brand. He's just this central midfielder from Wales who had a good Euros. and a couple of good seasons at Arsenal. I just don't. I cannot get my head around how he's fair play to him, but I just cannot get around how he's managed to seal this deal for £400,000 a week. If it is that, we don't know. It could be nothing.
Yeah, it's all rumours, but good on him. I mean,
yeah, fair play to the fella.
Yeah, let a man live.
But yeah, it is ridiculous. But I struggle to see how this is going to be helpful for Juventus. Not only is he not a superstar, but also for future transfers. How are they going to sign anyone for less than £100,000 a week? Less than £200,000 a week? Yeah. How are they going to convince a player of any ability that he's worth less a week than Aaron Ramsey, unless he turns into an amazing player over the next season?
Well, that's it. If he turns up and does the Emre Can's rubbish for you.
No, he can't get in the team.
Exactly. If he turns up and does the Emre Can, he's going to be on the bench earning £400,000 a week.
Yeah.
And Juventus will drop his wages, and then that'll be will Ramsey stay or go? Well, no, you can't drop your wages. Once the contract's signed, you can't.
Exactly. So they're stuck with him for however long the contract is.
So they've made a big investment, and they're hoping it'll pay off.
Well, I almost feel sympathetic for them at this point. I really hope it does.
So you know, though,
they're going to have a lot of.
What I think is, and anyone that supports Italian teams, this isn't an insult. I do think the Italian league is easier than the Premier League. I'm
sure it is. It's a different style. It's a much more slower paced, defensive orientated.
If you look at the players in the Italian league, the top 3 players were probably Ronaldo, Higuain, and Dybala. And Higuain's been taken out of that.
The Milan club's no longer what they used to be.
Yeah.
Juve versus the rest.
You've got Icardi. He's good. You got Immobile for Lazio. Is it Lazio he plays for? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's good, but no, the biggest names were the 3 I just mentioned, and it is, as you said, Juventus versus the rest. There's no big games.
No.
And that is why I think he will strive, because the competition's a lot easier.
But I suppose that's not really where they need to strengthen. It's the Champions League.
Yes.
Where they need to progress.
Well, it's just going to be down to one. I don't think he'll get much. Well, he'll either come and be a crucial first team player, or he won't get the time of day.
Well, I think at this point they've got no choice but to start him.
Yeah. And they need him to perform.
Yeah.
But, Champions League, we can't judge on that. We're going to have to wait and see what happens, because footballers that I think are rubbish end up playing blindingly in the Champions League.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ball game. Right, guys, so we just realised in the third part of the podcast, Louis' camera messed up.
Yep, so instead of playing both the audio and the visual, we're just going to play you the audio.
Yeah, because we've got a lot to talk about. He's got a lot to talk about, Mo Salah and stuff like that. So make sure you do keep listening to the end and let us know what you think in the comments.
Next up, I wanted to talk about Heung-min Son, because I think he's been performing relatively well for a number of years, and this year and last year especially. And I think, similar to a player like Firmino, for example, he's quite an underrated figure. I think he's always in amongst the goals and the assists, and he doesn't quite get the recognition that he deserves for it. I don't know if that's the same from your perspective.
I feel like Heung-min Son's very underrated, if I'm honest. You always hear Tottenham a one-man team, Harry Kane this, Harry Kane that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is. Did you see his goal against? Was it Chelsea? Where he's actually run off the pitch. The ball stayed on. He's run off the pitch. He's ran through everyone, and just netted it, side netting on his own. And that's like the kind of Eden Hazard goal. And you look at him and you think, what a fantastic player. And you don't get to see him because he's always doing these Asian games and stuff like that.
Well, that's what makes it even better. He's always he's just constantly playing football. He doesn't have a break. He's either out on like the Asian Cup or obviously playing for Spurs, Champions League, all the cup competitions. But he's maintaining such a high goal rate, especially for a winger/midfielder. This season, due to missing out because of other competitions, he's played 20 matches. He's got 11 goals and 5 assists, and that's top quality standards. Not only for the Premier League, but in world football, that's an amazing, like, top of the range statistics for a winger.
That is that. Well, 11 goals is usually what people not strikers, but more midfielders, they don't even aim to get that. Maybe 10 goals for South Hard midfielder in the Premier League. For a winger, I mean, he's not exactly Mo Salah.
No.
But
for the games that he's missed...
Exactly. He's missed some quite easy games as well, where he could have bagged 2 or 3.
Yeah, exactly. And last season he played 17 more matches and only got an extra goal. So he's already on target to get one of his best ever seasons.
Exactly. And that's it. So people are saying, oh, Tottenham's one-man team, Harry Kane is Harry Kane now. And I do think that Dele Alli, Moira, by Lucas, and Heung-min Son are actually a big part of Harry Kane's success.
Oh, definitely.
So I don't think Tottenham are a one-man team. What I think it is Tottenham have a very, very underrated winger.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think Heung-min Son is particularly underrated? I think Eriksen gets plaudits. Dele Alli, obviously being British, gets a lot of plaudits.
What I think the big thing is. I think, one, because he's not English, but 2, because like people are saying arguably Harry Kane's best striker in the Premier League. Now, when Tottenham play, they want to watch Harry Kane because he's doing his thing. And Heung-min Son, yeah, some people, but if you look at the position he plays and look at world class, Salah, Messi, there's not really room for him.
Yeah,
but in the Premier League there is. Other than Mo Salah, on the right hand side of the pitch, I can't find anyone that's better than Heung-min Son.
No, I'd have to agree, definitely.
But on the left hand side, you've also got Eden Hazard.
Yeah.
But again, other than Eden Hazard, I can't think anyone better than him. So yeah, if you compare him to the wingers of the world, as I'd like to say, that's why he's so underrated, because he's just, he's good, but there's someone in his team that's famous. And that's what
I think there's also an element of the fact that, not to get too deep into race issues and stuff like that, but the fact that he's a Korean footballer, when you compare that with like, you know, European footballers and people from like Spain and also like South America, where like there's a history of really talented players coming through from those places, like Brazil especially has a long line of brilliant players. You know, there's hasn't necessarily been a wide range of successful players, especially in the Premier League, from places like Korea, and I think that that's not hampered, but has sort of kept in a bit hidden from the rest of the world, and people haven't really paid attention.
Well, I'll tell you what it was as well. There was a big part of Heung-min Son's career that was missing, in a sense, and that is the World Cup. Now, people picked up Trippier in the World Cup and just started loving Trippier, picked up Kane in the World Cup, started loving Harry Kane, picked up all these players because they could watch him at the World Cup. They could watch him go far. I saw Liverpool fans cheering for Pickford. Like, this is what happens. This is where all the love that comes within football is just pushed into the World Cup. And for Heung-min Son, that's not realistic, because other than Heung-min Son,
exactly. He's their captain, and they do well in the Asian Cup and those sorts of competitions, but they never really look like getting into a World Cup. So that's a really good point. He doesn't have that global stage. And that's where I think next level. He's been hidden. And that's perhaps where I think there's a way of overcoming that. I suppose Tottenham just need to do well in the Champions League, get into the deep stages of that, and if Son can bag a few goals here and there, then that could certainly get his notoriety up for sure. But so finally, the last topic we wanted to have a look at was not just Salah, but the whole issue of diving in the Premier League. And what did you want to say about?
Well, I just want to say, is this whole thing, Salah's a diver, but is he actually a diver? Now, we have got some stats and some facts for you, which may alter your opinion. However, these are only, and I do stress this, people that have been caught and booked. So, the argument is, Salah, he dives a lot, and he's always getting given free kicks, but he's not being booked for diving.
Mm.
So, is Salah a diver? Statistically, no. When he plays, I'd still say yes. I'd say he over-exaggerates his fouls. So...
Well, I've got a few things here. So we've got names of people who have been booked for simulation. We've got the likes of Danny Rose, Ashley Barnes, Granit Xhaka, Harry Kane, Gundogan, Maddison, Guendouzi, Moira, Depoitre, Mustafi, loads of players.
I'm not hearing Salah's name anywhere.
No, Salah hasn't been booked for simulation yet. The clubs with the most players booked for simulation, interestingly, is both the North London clubs, Arsenal and Tottenham on 4 each. Then we've got Huddersfield on 2, and then the rest of the ones have been booked, so that's Burnley, Chelsea, Palace, Everton. They've all had 1 player. But yeah...
So I'm hearing that the teams that are complaining the most, so for example, when Liverpool played Tottenham, and Salah went down in the box for a penalty, do you remember? I'm hearing them moaning, oh, he's a diver, he's a diver, he's a diver. But are you telling me that it's actually Tottenham and Arsenal that are...
the ones that have been caught the most? So for me, that just shouts the people who are worst at diving. You
Yeah.
can't do it. If you're going to do it, at least do it
Lacazette
properly.
and that lot, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I'd just like to say something about Salah. So being a Liverpool fan, I'm sure people can just rule out my opinion as being biased and what have you. But from what I've seen, on occasions he does go down easily. I'm not going to argue with that. I think there's always been some sort of contact on 90% of the case. I think there's always been contacts of some kind, and I just feel like in his second season in the Premier League, he's picked up more on what other players do and what referees pick up on, and he's thought, okay, I'm going to try and do that. I think the attention that he has got in particular has been very unfair, and I think a lot of that comes from the fact, I hate to say it, and I hate to try and throw this in as an excuse, is down to some form of racism in a way. The fact that he gets pinpointed for it so much, and the likes of different newspapers and media outlets throw his name out there as just being like this dirty, cheating player all of a sudden, when European players have been doing it for years, like the likes of Ronaldo, Messi, plays in the Premier League. Eden Hazard's been doing it for God knows how long. Harry Kane is an abysmal diver, and he is on that list of players who have been booked. And Jesse Lingard, it happened to a couple of weeks ago as well. He was went down without barely being touched at all. And I just feel like it's very unfair and very damaging that it's only Salah who's been picked up on it, and it's somehow the other fans are blaming him to the extent that they almost seem to deny that their club's ever done it before, when they have, and I bet you they had no problem with it then. I'm not trying to condone diving, I'm not condoning Salah going down too easily, but I think there's certainly a good reason for it. He's doing it to help the team. It's not for his own goal scoring benefit, because he's given penalties to other players, like Firmino when he was on a hat-trick. So as wrong as it is, it's not being selfish for him. And yeah, I just think he's been very unfairly treated.
Well, to be honest with you, and I know I'm an Everton fan, so I should be saying all this about Salah, but I'm not going to, because I respect him as a footballer. I don't think it's down to race. I think it's down to the fact that he does it so cleverly, but he does it crucially. So the reason he's been pinpointed is because he will do it for major decisions that are either win or loss for games. Penalties, free kicks on the edge of the box. He will go down, and because you've got so much class on penalty takers and free kick takers, they will score, and it's altering games.
But do you not see a similarity between his treatment and Raheem Sterling?
All I can say,
I don't think it's as serious yet, but I think if it's allowed to, it could turn into that. Especially what happened at West Ham on the other week.
Unfortunately, with football does come hooligans and does come racism. Now, for any kind of footballer to experience any kind of racism, it is horrible. Don't get me wrong, it's borderline. I think it should be a complete ban from the stadium. I don't think no more for you. I mean, people throw bananas at footballers. That is disgusting. To call someone a diver, I wouldn't go as far as racism. And I know, it's only Salah being picked
No, I don't
up.
know. I'll reword that. I don't think it's the fact he's being called a diver. I'd never say. I'd never throw race out at that. I think it's just the. And I take your point on board that it may be for a lot of key decisions.
Yeah.
But I still feel like there is an undercurrent. It's obviously it's not the majority. It is a minority, but there is still an undercurrent of the fact that he is a foreigner and he is
that unfortunately comes with football.
He is an Islamic player, and obviously there's a lot of tension surrounding Islam in Britain at the moment. And
don't get me wrong,
this is getting much deeper than we intended for it to.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. That is just because it's football, and that's not an excuse. Racism is wrong. It should not be in football. I would say, if we can keep away from the racist side of things and think of it more as a decision-making thing, that's good. Purely because when, and like you said with Raheem Sterling, when Salah dives, people don't throw bananas at him. That's why I'm saying it's not a racism thing. I'm not saying, yeah, it could have a racist motive behind it. So, yeah, he's Egyptian, he's Islamic, he's not from here, so the media are picking up on it more. But that's just down to the media being idiots. Because I'm not being funny. That's like me saying Mo Salah, he's Islamic, but he's one of the best footballers in the world. Why aren't the media picking up on that? Do you know what I mean? So, the race has got nothing to do with it. I feel quite strongly towards racism in football purely because I've not experienced it myself, but I've been on a team where racism has occurred, and
that's what I think a lot of people don't realise is that as much as we'd like to say that it's gotten better, I think it is still quite high.
Yeah, and it's not nice to see. I mean, seeing my friend experience it at the time, he was shocked because at the time this wasn't high level football we were playing. We were a couple stages up, right? We were hitting borderline the semi-pro side, right? And seeing my friends see that, it's just so disheartening. It's absolutely horrible. So I'm going to take the racism out of this just because it's dampening the subject of. Now I'm going to say this, and you're going to understand what I mean. You've seen me play football. How many times do I go down? How many fouls do I get? I've almost got 100% dive the foul rate.
But you didn't dive?
I did.
Alright, okay.
I went down do you not remember when we were playing on that muddy pitch?
I'd say you went down easily, but I'd always say that they were fouls.
Well, that's what I think happens with Salah. Because if you ask any of the boys now, and I know this is taken away from the Premier League, so we're going to get this done quickly. If you ask any of the boys now, they know I go down easily to get fouls. With Salah, I purely believe that it's because he is so class and he can shift that ball away from the defender's foot before the defenders come in. He knows that he will get fouled. Because all the foul is not getting the ball. So Salah moves that ball away from Azpilicueta's foot. And then it's the aftermath. It's the connection of his foot on Salah that makes Salah drop.
And I honestly don't see a problem with that.
It's not a problem at all. That's what I'm saying.
Looking for a foul, I think, is part of the game.
I think that's class. In all honesty, if you're agile enough to look for a foul, I mean, there's a guy that's scouting other teams in trees. That's not against the rules. Looking for fouls is not a rule. It's the defender's carelessness, and that is where it's come from. What it is Salah is so agile and so smart. He knows exactly what his defenders are going to do 10 minutes before he's even made a run. He will scout them out throughout the game, and he'll think, right, I'm going to ping it up this wing. He keeps coming in with his left foot, so I'm going to shift the ball onto my right, and he's going to take me out.
Yeah,
that's a foul. Oh, Salah's diving. No, Salah's planning and executing. So yeah, fair enough. He knows the foul's coming. He is playing down to it. He's over-exaggerating the foul. But, borderline, there is a foul there. And that is why, and I'm an Everton fan and I'll still back Salah for this, because I'm a footballer as well. There is nothing wrong with what he is doing. And the reason he's been picked up so much is because he does it so much. But, has he ever been booked?
No.
Because they're all fouls. So Salah's not a diver, he's an actor.
And that's probably going to be the title of this video, so I look forward to that. But yeah,
yeah, I think that's.
I'll just wrap that up, and yeah, players up and down the leagues everywhere dive, and I think bottom line, it's just unfair for whatever reason to try and single out one player for that. If you want to end it, you've got to target everyone who's doing it, whether that's a retrospective ban or sin bins, people are talking about stuff like that, or whatever. But yeah, that was our first attempt at Premier League podcasts.
We hope you guys did enjoy it. As we said earlier, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notifications, because that'll help us out massively.
And leave any comments on things that you found interesting or disagree with.
Yeah, anything that you have felt may have linked to you. So say you were one of the fans of teams we're talking about, or you've got any kind of judgment on what we've said, don't forget to leave in the comments, as Louis said. What we will do as well, if we get enough comments, is we will start reading your comments out in a podcast. So we'll say, this is from this person, and we might discuss it, have a little thing about it, have a little segment for it. But yeah, we thank you guys for watching. I've been Connor.
I've been Louis.
And yeah, we'll see you for the next podcast.